Hello and welcome back to Novacraft. This is episode 13, and it's been months since the last episode. I actually had a decent amount of recorded at one point, but I ended up swapping out so many different computer parts that I basically have a full new computer now, and whatever files I had recorded have since been lost. So just to kind of remind everybody what's going on, we are making a bunch of buildings that have different kinds of villages in them. Like here's our library with our librarians, our cartographer hut, our church with the clerics in it, the furnace in the background there. And we've gotten through a decent amount of the professions, but there's still some left. Farmers, shepherds, blah, 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 these guys here. Today we're going to be doing the shepherds. And the shepherds like to trade wool, because they, sheep. So we're going to build a little bit of a sheep farm, and then put some shepherds in it. Jumping into a creative world now to show you how the sheep farm is going to work. Here's a sheep. You shear the sheep. You drop some wool. He'll regrow his wool when he eats the grass below him, which should be, well, it's kind of random. Whenever he does it, he'll regrow his... Oh, there he goes. Okay, wool's back. And now if I shear him again, yay, more wool. But he can't eat any grass below him and regrow his wool because there is no grass. It's dirt block. So the grass here will eventually... that was fast. Okay, so that's spread. And now, whenever he's ready, he'll eat it and be on his way, growing some more wool, and the process repeats itself. And this winds up being not really a matter of how fast you can shear sheep, but how fast grass can spread to dirt. So it's a game of grass management. Grass blocks can spread to any dirt blocks if they're within this kind of radius here. So it's like one in every direction except the up direction allows 3 blocks up. The only problem is if you put 2 dirt blocks on top of each other, this one down below will eventually, the grass will die and turn to, just turns to dirt. So you have to have spacing in between them. And this is really the optimal way. Well, it's the way where you can pack the most grass into the same area to regenerate that block. It's a little bit overkill, and we also need some other things too. I mean, we have to shear the sheep. And we don't want to be sitting there just manually doing it over time. So we're going to set up a machine that does it automatically for us. So this poor guy just blocked in this cage just to demonstrate. But we set up a dispenser that has shears in it, and an observer that looks at the grass block. When the grass spreads from one block to the grass block, that'll change the state and activate the system. Or when the sheep eats the grass, it'll activate the system because it'll say, oh, this turned from a grass block into a dirt block. The observer says, I see that, and it sends a signal to the dispenser to dispense the shears. And then down below we have this hopper minecart to suck up the wool. So we have to kind of combine this thing with this thing to make the most efficient way possible. And this is what we're going to end up doing. Something like this, where we're not actually just going to be doing one farm. We're going to be throwing in some bamboo in there too. I guess it's technically not the most efficient way possible, but it's cool. It'll look kind of cool. And it works by when the observer sees, can't really even see it, when the observer sees this block underneath the sheep change states, it does the same thing where it tries to dispense some shears, but it also activates this sticky piston right here, which will push these blocks, what are these called, fence posts, and those will break the bamboo. And we have a minecart going down back and forth that will suck up the bamboo, and ignore that button, and the white wool. We're going to expand that over and over again into something like this. And I'm going to try and build this, or a variant thereof, in the server. So this is kind of the gist of it. I mean, it's not decorated. We don't have the rail cart system pick up below yet. We're actually going to have two of them, one on each side, so that one's not built yet. And then we're going to put all the shepherds in the middle and kind of make the whole thing try and feel a bit like a, I don't know, industrial barn-like structure. We'll see how that actually turns out. So now that I say all those things, I've barely got any work done. But hey, we got started at least. Little progress update. I've got the other side built out as well, so we got all our sheeps all tucked in, ready to go. Just need to kind of build out still the little railways underneath that are gonna grab all the wool and the bamboo when they're sheared. I've also started kind of specking out in the middle what the barn is gonna look like, and I'm gonna go more of a barn technique. I don't really have anything like clear in mind, which is why I'm not doing a time lapse. But I think this is gonna be the frame, so it's gonna be pretty large, and then we're gonna have a loft area. So all of the stuff when it gets collected, I'm gonna have to shoot it up into these hoppers, and then it's gonna get kind of spread out into the chest. So this is where we're gonna store everything. And then down below, I've got spots for 16 shepherds, so they're gonna go down here. We have kind of built out a lot of the frame of the farm, and I've chosen this color palette. I think it's gonna stick. This is acacia wood. I mean, it's got a nice gray to it, but it's going to be kind of hard to blend with some other blocks in a similar color palette later, but I'll figure that one out. So there's the roof, and then I'm just going to go into free cam mode and show kind of what the other side's going to look like. Each of these wings will have a similar roof shape, and they'll kind of meet all in the middle here. So that's the general idea. Obviously, it's got a lot more to do here in terms of, I mean, it's just a flat wall right now. We've got to add some character to it. You know, make it a little more 3D. Add some blemishes. This is supposed to be a rundown looking barn. So a lot of work there to do yet. But I also, if we go into the inside, have built the railway systems for each. So you'll see the little hopper minecart running around, and that'll be sucking up all of the bamboo and wool as it gets sheared. And then it stops here. How this works is this little detector rail detects the cart and it sends a signal into this pulse extender, and then it'll decay, releasing the cart. So it basically that's just going to hold the cart in here to give some time to unload. The hoppers will take the items through here into these droppers, where I have some redstone hooked up to notice if there's anything in this bottom dropper to start flashing these different. There it goes, flashing the different redstone torches, and that'll send it up. And we can see it's been active for a while. We've already got quite a lot of white wool and a little bit of bamboo. And it's getting late, so I'm gonna go to sleep. And we're done. Overall, I'm fairly satisfied. I think it came out okay, all things considered. I decided to kind of depart from the structured pathways we had. This is going to be a bit more of like a rural, rustic kind of area. So we've got our old decaying barn here. Of course, you need your oak tree with your swing in front of it. And then to kind of texture it, that was the hard part here. I wound up going with some spruce, what are these? Fences? Spruce fence gates? No, just spruce fences, vertically. To kind of almost give it like it was bonded, like these boards were bonded together at one point, but that bonding has fallen apart, and instead there's been decay in the wood where that bonding fell apart. We've also got spruce trapdoors. Those are going to be like the sliding barn doors there, and they lead us into all of our villagers, all of our shepherds. I've been trading with these guys a lot. There's 16 of them. And it took me so long. Like, I know I said that in the beginning of this episode that it has been like weeks or months since the last one. It's still been another 3 weeks, maybe a month since I started it. It took me so long to get all these guys because each one, we're focusing on this trade right here. This guy has black wool. This guy has orange wool. Light gray wool. There's 16 different types of wool. He's got yellow and lime. And it took me so long to get the final guy, to get all different 16 color types. Basically, the plan is all of these guys will accept white wool, this 5 white wool for 1 emerald, but then this guy will give me either green or cyan wool for 1 emerald. So basically, as all the sheep up there get sheared and their stuff gets piped down into these chests, I can just go take a bunch of white wool and convert it to any color wool I want. So let's say I want magenta wool. Just go and trade here, and then bam, buy magenta wool. Overall, the structure is pretty big. It kind of gives like a big backdrop to the rest of the village here. It's not super detailed, but I think for the most part it's going to kind of be in the background. We're going to be working over here in one episode, and that'll kind of frame out that part of the island. It's essentially we're working on just kind of a giant island here. Well, not necessarily an island. I guess it does continue over there, but like this, if we cut it right here, this is the whole area we're actually going to be working with. So it helps to frame a lot of the other buildings as you get farther away. So for that reason, I kind of like it. That's pretty much where we're going to leave off today. Just took me so long. I wish I could get more episodes done more quickly, but hopefully the next one will be a lot sooner. So until the next one.